I'll record this on the cloud. Shouldn't have any power outages or issues because we have our generator now. So if we do ever, we will be back immediately. But once again, my name is William. Tomorrow, we're going to have Jesper from Twitter Moments. Wednesday is usually going to be Holly, myself, Brent, and Michael Merlino. And then Thursday is Chris. Friday is Kevin. Saturday is going to be Patrick with Lead Snap, and Sundays is cryptocurrency. You're going to be noticing also on my YouTube channel, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, because we're going to be having basically 7 days a week. We have 2 YouTubes on there. One's usually just going to be an audit of all types of different companies I'm doing. So y'all can look at how I look at different companies, massage therapists to truck drivers, etc. And then at, the other live that we do, which is usually East Coast evening time, is going to be everything from, prospecting to CTR manipulation. And I'm going to have a bunch of different people coming on. So you're not going to want to miss that. Today, what we're going to do, and I know I've went over this before, but I've had a couple of people ask me about it, is essentially how to do keyword research. How many of y'all are interested in some more keyword research? Hey, got your will stack done. What a neat idea. Looks cool. Appreciate it. Yep. Plugins. I'm going to have lots of all my plugins. I'm going to be doing Black Friday stuff with. Everything I have is going to have a special. And if you don't, and if I don't drop the special, just ask me and I'll drop the special. I'm not a hard guy to ask. You ask me and I'll do it. Generally speaking. Let's see here. All right. So keyword research. Most people overcomplicate this. Okay. I'm keen to taking it a step further, how to know what keywords to put where in the sitemap. This is where I think kind of everybody, give me a niche, Aaron, if you will. And okay, electrician, great. All right, let's go ahead and do a share real quick. Make sure which screen am I on. All right, should be on screen too. Can y'all see my screen? Let's go electrician in Phoenix. I'll open up my chat so I can pull this over here. All right. So most people, when you're writing content or doing keyword research, the first tool everybody goes to is SEMrush and Ahrefs. I'm not your typical SEO. So if you think I'm going to be the typical SEO, it's never going to happen. I would personally go, okay, Google gives me on a silver platter how to rank for terms. So I personally, the way I look at things is I go, okay, go over here to Google Maps and hit view all and take the top 5 people and look at everything they're doing. And I know I've went over this 50 million times, but I'm going to keep drilling everybody's head till they get it. The first one I'm going to do when I'm looking at keyword research, I'm going to go to Phoenix Electricians a Day. They may have a good site. They may have a sucky ass site, but let's go open it, right? It's decent. It's not crazy, but it's good. He's got lots of content, everything I see already, just by looking at it. Now, the other thing I do, he also has videos. I mean, I could do a whole audit on this and everything. But generally speaking, okay, we want to do and find out what keywords he's going after. I can pull this into SEMrush, I can pull in Ahrefs, all that jazz. But another thing I can do, and I've shown you all this, is you can go into their sitemap, generally speaking, if they have one. Not all the time do they have it available to you. Not all the time is it pretty. This one is not necessarily a pretty one, right? But you can see in here, if I was to take every one of his URL structures, right, I can already tell what he's going after. Phoenix landscape lighting adds value to the uses of your property. Electrical safety, causes of circuit breaker trips. So what I personally do is I will take all of their site maps, combine every one of them, and let's go to the next one. So you can see this. This is Mr. Electric. What's Mr. Electric up to? All right, once again, he's got, you know, a nice looking website. It's not that great, but it's doable. So, all right, let's go to sitemap. Once again, and I had someone ask me earlier, so basically you're saying to copy someone's website. No, not necessarily. I mean, you could call it that if that's what you want to call it. I'm saying they're successful. So copy their URL structure, which in turn leads to copy their keywords, what keywords are going after. And this guy has 1,400 links or 1,400 URLs. This little bitty website that looks like it ain't got nothing in here, and everybody would probably look at me like, well, why is he outranking me? And then he only has like 10 pages. And then if you go on the damn sitemap, dude has almost 1,500 pages, right? So, and the next thing, so now I have this guy's URLs, the other guy's URLs, and I can look at here, okay, this guy's got, if you go underneath his blog, he's got all of his location pages. Every one of his location pages have separate services, everything, right? So I can see how he's structuring his website, okay? And this is what I'm looking at here. Electrician actually tends to be kind of a competitive niche, especially you would even think, okay, well, it's only Phoenix and it's not that hard or difficult. Actually, electricians in Phoenix is actually a very, very tough niche to get into. So, and I've done it. So next one, let's go to Arizona Electrical Solutions. And let's open up that one and kind of see what they got going on. So if you look at this one, you can even see, okay, they got a decent amount of content. They're number 3. Let's see if we can see what their sitemap has. Now, the ones I really like is when you get a Yoast sitemap, because Yoast literally organizes it for you. It says post categories just like this. I love it. If you actually look at this, so Yoast has it where it's showing you these are the posts, these are the pages. If I click on it, he's got 25 pages, and I could literally take this and go, okay, here's all his keywords, right? Residential landscape lighting, residential fault breakers, residential breaker fuses, residential surge protection, commercial tenant improvements, commercial solar. Okay, so he lists out, those are all his keywords. So why do I need to go to SEMrush? Why should I use some other tool when the top people, if I go look at what they're doing, I can go, okay, let me do the same thing they're doing. Let me silo my content and page structure the same way. And if I go to their blogs, I can also look at his blogs or his post sitemaps, if you will. His post sitemap says he's got 28 blog posts. Now you begin to see, why is this guy number 3? When number 2 has 1,500 damn pages. Okay, if he ever thinks he's going to get to number 2 or number 1 position, what does he need? Does he need more backlinks or content? I generally am going to say content, right? I'll deal with that, Nick Bell, in a second. But yeah, service page versus a guide versus a blog post. Yeah, I'll get into that. I'm actually already have that ready for y'all guys. So on our towing niche, and we'll go over that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy, and this is where the tool comes in, Azagio, which makes it easy. So Azagio, I put in that plugin, and Azagio pulls in all their pages, and I can duplicate all their pages. Now, when I say duplicate their pages, I mean duplicate their URL structure. The URL structure is, for example, this right here. So this guy, residential electrical panel upgrades and renovations. He doesn't need to put the keyword in Phoenix because it's actually in his URL. He has an EDM. Yes, I'm actually running an Azagio Black Friday deal this week. So just pay attention this week and I'll have all types of shit for y'all guys. So that's the first aspect. Now, once I have the URLs or the pages all created, the next thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to create the content. So what am I going to do to create the content? I'm going to look at what this guy has for every single one of his contents. and I'm going to recreate the same content. Now I have, give you an example. Let's see, where do I have this? I want to make sure where I actually have it. It is in, I want to show you guys real quick. So when you're ordering something, let me, onboarding forms. So content instruction forms, this I actually give away as well. And I'm going to show you guys this. Give me 1 second. Yes, I know. Okay, let's go back to sharing the screen. So this is a content onboarding form, right? I could literally take this, you can give it to, you know, fill it out, give it to me, give it to our people, give it to VAs or whatever. But I could then take that same URL from my competition, put it in here so they can see kind of, if you will, an example of the type of content I'm wanting. I can then write, you know, where it's appearing at, what's the main keyword, which I've already given you through the sitemap. What's the H1 heading? The H1 heading should be the same thing as your main keyword. All right. Once you give them this information, they can then turn around and create all that content that you've gathered from the top 5 sites. All right. Once that content is created, we're talking about specifically just page content, not blogs. Not, you know, you can do the same thing with blogs, but not guides, not the other stuff. And we'll get to that. Now, once that's done, I then go back to my top 5 people and say, for example, what type of internal linking are they doing on that page? How many links do they have on the page? What keywords are they using on that page to do internal linking? And that's the type of internal linking I'm going to do. Now I'm going to show you that. Next question, because I seen someone had it, was, all right, what keywords to put in a service page versus a guide versus a blog post, etc. All right, service pages, for example, once again, I'm going to go to Google. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I go to Google, who's in the top 5. I see what type of, how they have their service content siloed. I copy it. I duplicate it. There's a reason they're number 1, 2, and 3. People try to overcomplicate it and be like, oh my God, how should I structure this? And they go looking everywhere else when Google says, here's the top 5 people. They're the top 5 for a reason, you know? Okay, so I go, for example, and everything residential will have, if you will, in the electrical one we did, it would have home, residential, commercial, right? And then underneath residential, you're going to have all of your residential services, which are going to be different than commercial services. All right. Commercial services could be tenants, could be, you know, commercial buildings, could be apartment complexes, could be polar security lighting, shit like that. Right. And then now when you get into the blogs, the same thing with the blogs. The blogs are going to be totally different. The blogs, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy someone's blogs, find out what type of blogs are they writing to be in the top 3. I'm going to duplicate them, recreate the same structure, write about the same content, not copy them, not plagiarize them, copy their success formula, model them. Okay. Then now when we get into tips and guides, let me show you. So for the towing person, all right, what I did was, and I've shown y'all this before, let's say electrician in Phoenix, right? And I'll show you this again, Phoenix. And if I go and Google, let's say, and we'll do this so I can show y'all again. If we go Google electrician Phoenix or electrical repair Phoenix, right? Google's going to tell you, generally speaking, what are some of the things people are looking for. This is also how I use the all-in-one SEO platform as well, where I've shown y'all. Okay, but specifically I use Google. Then I also have the all-in-one, and we'll show y'all that SEO report, right? So I go into Google and I say electrical repair, and they tell me specifically what people are asking about, right? And I will use this information right here, which they're giving me, to write guides and other content, which you're asking about guides and tips. And if you will, this is where I use to write my long articles. On my YouTube channel, I also talk about this. Like when I write an article, I then push that article, i.e. as a blog on my site. Then I put it in YouTube and I use the YouTube stack. Then I take that YouTube video embedded on the blog. Then I take that blog and that YouTube video and do it as a press release. And then I interlink every one of them together. And then on top of it, I put it through Holly's News Network. Okay. And then we also can take that and put it through PDF and a bunch of other places. But that's the general gist of it. Now, a typical guide, for example, I'll show you this one. This is one I wrote for, we had to write for the, if you will, the towing niche. So for the towing niche, she wants to rank for boat towing, right? But doesn't have a whole lot of boat towing information on here. If you actually look at this, this is a 5,000 word article. This is a 5,000 words of content, right? If you go through this entire thing, it is a complete guide to boat towing. I'm going to take this, put this on the website, and then chop it up into separate press releases, right? Part 1, part 2. If you go through this whole thing, this is the type of guide I will write, and this is why we rank. We'll go through here, and if you look at it, not only is it, okay, if you will, a guide on towing regarding a boat, but it literally breaks everything down. What is it meant to trailer a boat? What does it mean to trailer a boat? What should you consider when it comes to towing a boat? The boat, the vehicle, the trailers, the hitch. Here's how to get the boat and trailer attached. What are the steps of a boat towing process? Follow a pre-trip trailing checklist. I mean, this whole thing is a very in-depth, you know, if you were to actually pay someone to write 5,000 words, this is a $250, if you will, article. Then I also have, for an example, affordable flatbed towing services. It's kind of the same thing. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll open this up, stop sharing, and open that one up again. And I'll show you this one. Affordable flatbed. This one's 2,000 words. Affordable flatbed towing services we offer. And it goes through all of it, and it's all about flatbed towing. Right? Why should you use a flatbed tow truck company? Flatbed versus wheel lift tow truck. You know, let Sydney towing trucks know when you need an affordable flatbed truck in Sydney. And that's the very vast line. But we'll go through, and these will be the type of guides I write. And I base all of my guides off of what I see inside of Google, also based off of what I see on other websites. For example, I know what she wants to rank for and she's not ranking for, so that's what I'm going after. You know, and I have other, that's outside of all the URL structure using the sitemap and everything else, which we showed you. Okay. Let me go back through this content. FYI, Angie's List called my assistant trying to pitch fence leads for $24 to $117. Yeah, they do. That's another way. Howdy, Dan. Let's see. Bug off pests like pest control. Aaron, what if it's a lower competition space and the top 5 seem kind of shitty? They're still doing something right. There's something that they're still doing right. I mean, if it's that easy, then why aren't you in the top? You know, I still want to see, their site might look like shit. Their content still may be shit, but they're ranking for a reason. So I still want to look at what's their URL structure, what are their keywords they're going after, what's their internal linking structure, Okay, so this week, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably about 30,000 words of content I'm going to be dropping in on the Sydney website, right? For towing. Once I drop that in, I've already went in, already started fixing SEO on-page issues. The rankings have already started going up, etc. So now we're going to take the internal content, drop the tips and guides in there and the blogs. Now, once that's done, next week, I'm going to, maybe even this week, but very likely next week, we're going to go over internal linking. I'm going to show you exactly how to do internal linking. And once you see it, it's ridiculously stupid and it's ridiculously easy. So it's not that complicated. Most people just overcomplicate every damn thing when it comes to SEO. Can you get the sheet that I showed? I will be dropping that sheet for content inside of the SOPs. If you go to rankfortressacademy.com, you'll see William SOPs, and I'm going to be putting them there. Daniel, how did I source the content? So you're going to have to rewatch the video, Daniel. Yeah, I've checked out Scale Nut. Graham's been coming after me about going with Scale Nut. So it looks very promising, but we'll see. You know, they have a very good financial backer, very good people behind them. Link Whisperer, yes, that's what I'm going to be going over next week. And pretty much that's our internal linking. You know, there's no mystery behind it. I use Link Whisperer, but then besides that, I'm also going to show you how we go through the competition. We look at what they're doing. So got a question, William? Go ahead and drop it, Johnny, and I'll answer it. Yep. Been using Viper. I don't. You discovered the reason I don't use it pretty much. I'm using Viper for 6 months now. It's really buggy. It drives me nuts. Me and Chris are working on something together, me and Chris Palmer. And in the next few weeks or so, he's dropping, we're going to be testing it out. Once we test it out, then he's dropping his own CTR tool. So once that comes out, you'll see me pushing that because I know it works. I do not recommend Viper mainly because if you ask anybody such as Chris, it works, but it's how are you using it? So if you're using it just for Google search or just for Google GMB, I don't see it working as much as most people are claiming. Okay, now, and they have, when I say test something, I mean just do this one thing and see if it moves the needle. Most people, when they test something, they do this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, and then they say, oh, this tool works. It's amazing. I don't do it that way. I go, use this tool only. So what I did find with Viper is it works really well whenever you use the YouTube Viper. So I use the YouTube, and that explains a lot because inside my YouTube stacks, it's all got the Google share links, the GMB links. It's got completely optimized, unlike what most people do. And then when I send the Viper in, it's doing CTR and it's going to the GMB and the share links and the posts and everything, and it works that way. Now, that being said, the tools that Chris and everything is setting up is through an actual physical network. It is going to, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I know for a fact it works using it by itself, nothing else. So that being said, that's why I don't use anymore. You won't hear me talking about Viper, etc. Yep. And that happens. Atif, if you've been in SEO for any length of time, one thing you're going to learn is one day one thing works, the next day it doesn't. So you have to test, and I will never be the person that goes, use this when I know it doesn't work. If I stop using something, it's for a reason. It's not because I just changed my mind and said, oh, I don't like it anymore. And there's a lot of people that will do that, but I'm not that person. Let's see. So drop your questions. We got a few minutes in here. I'll be answering some more questions. How do you determine if a keyword you're targeting or a question you like to rank for should be one on a dedicated page? Everything gets a dedicated page. So the whole point of a guide is for, say, I take the guide, and the guide is my main keywords. It's my pillar content. And then inside that pillar content, let's say it's a flatbed tow truck. That's a, pillar content, right? Emergency towing service. And then that entire guide is hundreds of words or phrases about flatbed tow trucks. Every aspect of flatbed tow truck should be covered in that guide. Why? Because what's going to happen is, as you're ranking for these long tail, real easy keywords that everybody says, oh, you can rank overnight for, which you'll hear, people talking about. I'm not going to get into it, but basically they say, if you go look up, I'm the best SEO on planet Earth, right? Or I got, best looking man in this or whatever, or #1 symbol SEO, stuff like that. People are not looking for those terms. So what would happen if, let's say you went and got some long tail keywords, let's say how to find a flatbed tow truck in Sydney. And I have that one, or emergency flatbed tow truck Sydney. That keyword, if I write content for those long tail keywords, and this one is the main one, this will actually push this one up. So when this rises, it's just going to push this one up. You understand? So don't just go after the one main keyword. You go after all of them. So when the long tail, low competition keywords rise, it will help the main keyword with high competition rise as well. Okay. And I do the same thing in YouTube. If you've noticed, it's like I go after long tail keywords that are really easy to get ranked for, but then I also go after the short tail keyword, which, for example, local SEO. Local SEO, then you got local SEO audit for massage therapists. And then I start doing local SEO audit for electrical company, because that will push them all up. Atif, drop your question and I'll answer it, buddy. Aaron, yep, got that one. Johnny, right, makes sense. Yep, like I said, Atif, things change over time. Things I'll recommend today, I might not recommend 5 months from now. Like when I first started back in, I believe it was March of this year, there are things that change. Google algorithms constantly coming out, so I'll constantly change stuff. So the one that Chris is doing is, you'll see it when it comes out. I'm not going to discuss too much of it, but it's very exciting knowing that Chris is coming out with it. He's coming out with his own system and everything, because if you will, Holly Starks is really the one that made CTR the big thing, right? Everybody talked about it. And then there was a contest, kind of like me, James, and Craig, and a couple other guys are going after CTR manipulation in YouTube. And now, like, it's went off the charts. The search volume for CTR manipulation is insane. And Chris is up there. And Chris has taught people how to set up their own CTR network, a physical network, not just, okay, I had Viper on a machine. And that's basically Viper. Viper runs off of machines, dongles, computers, stuff like that. Is it a good idea to use Google News to publish on? Absolutely. It's a high DA. It's owned by Google. Same thing as GStacks, CloudStacks. As long as they're done right, they're all owned by Google. They're Google assets. Very excited for the new CTR tool when it comes out. When it does come out, and it's done, tested and everything, because if you know anything about Chris wants it to be perfect. You don't want it to come out and be buggy, which is, what happens with the other tool is one day it's working, one day it's not, one day it's working, one day it's not. And the reason I got it was I need to be able to run it for, let's say, 300 campaigns at a time. And one day it's working, one day it's not, is not going to work for me, especially when you're trying to be doing CTR, because it has to be consistent. Okay. Google's News Network. You can buy a Google News website for like $100. from Holly on top of it, or you can message me and I'll hook you up. But the Holly News Network, you can also, like I said, I'm going to be dropping specials on that as well. But every time we do a blog post, it goes into a YouTube, then it goes into a press, YouTube goes under your blog post, then that goes into a press release, then that goes into Holly's News Network. I went over this in like a 4 or 5 part series on YouTube as well. William, about Signal Genesis, Holly, or Chris for press releases. I used all of them, Kelly. I don't use just one. Are you still a huge advocate? Yes, I'm still very much a huge advocate of Signal Genesis. I've yet to find any press release service that does as good. You can find other ones where you'll do, and I know Chris uses one where you do 300 press releases all at one time. But in my opinion, I want quality. I don't want quantity. You understand what I'm saying? That's just me. Just my take on it. Bug off. Everyone talks about Google. What about other ones? Yahoo and Bing. They account for about 2 to 3% of all search. So for me, when you're ranking on Google, you will rank. I generally see it ranking naturally first on Yahoo and Bing before it will rank on Google. If it's a brand new site, I can always see it ranking on Bing and Yahoo prior to Google. I don't have separate tactics for Yahoo and Bing. I really don't. I'm not going to put that much time and effort into 2%. Patrick, how do you know to push a keyword with a detailed guide instead of a blog post? I do that for the pillar content. Pillar content should always have a guide. One of the things you also hear me, if you're in scale your agency, say, for example, you need a guide or tripwire or what we call value, tripwire, free giveaway, whether that's an audit or what I would personally do is say you have your agency site, and then on the first thing on your agency site is, hey, get a free audit. Or if you're going after contractors, say, download our guide on marketing and contractors. I got like 14 or 15 guides that I'm actually going to be dropping for my own stuff underneath the website. If you saw me post about the other day, williamjonesseo.com, in which is just going to be where I'm going to put my reviews and my tools and my guides and my free shit that I give away as far as ebooks, because I have almost 20 ebooks that I have, for everything under the sun from pay-per-click to just SEO. Do you recommend for CTR we need to move the keyword from 8th to 5th? For the most part, Atif, no. For the most part, every time I look at a site, everybody wants to go to the silver bullet, and they haven't even handled content and page structure and mirroring their site to their GMB. I do have a cloud stack. Sean's asking, do you have a cloud stack SOP? I do. I also have a drive stack SOP, but basically in the next few weeks or so, we're going to be coming out with those SOPs, and Chris has got his own training on drive stacks. I'm going to make that available to people as well. He's going to be dropping it, so it will come at a cost on his stuff, but I do have a SOP for my own stuff. Pretty much the same. It's just he has his own methodology. So Nick Vale, Holly's News Network worth every penny, such an absurd price. Yep. And I have unlimited to Holly's News Network. That's why you'll see me drop the ascending offer where it says, hey, it's going to start out at $5 and go up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up, because I can get them in there, dirt cheap, because hey, I have unlimited access. Let's see, Patrick, Sean, if you were a pro, yep, YouTube stack as well. Yeah, GMB Pro. Look at the YouTube stack. Look at my Will stack. All that's in there, and I have all the SOPs in there. Kelly, thanks for the feedback. Bug off. Need the backlinking and 4G proxies for Will stack. Yep. So the Will stack, part of the success of the Will stack, if you take the Will stack, what he's talking about is I actually do CTR specifically using 4G proxies and CTR to the Will stack. So, and we're actually, Carl, in the process of setting up my own 4G proxies using dongles, and I'm also setting up my own click farm and everything, and in phone farm. So that's another reason why I'm not using Viper anymore. You kind of get into this habit of wanting to do things your own. So with the towing client, Aaron asked, you're going to put the guides, okay? You're going to put the guides on the site and then take parts of the guide and press releases around them. So you're taking a bit of the guide, yep, and making it into a blog post. Some of the guides that are larger, like 5,000 words, I'm going to split that up into 2 press releases, like part 1, part 2. Latif says, same setup here, boss. Yep. What happens, I'll be honest with you, what happens is you start finding stuff that works, and then you want to create it for yourself. I don't want to keep paying somebody else. So I go and I have more control over it, and I have more control over the quality and whether or not it works one day or not, you know, that sort of thing. But dongles for the proxies, yep. So maybe you should write me a T if you could talk some about that. Just message me on Facebook. We'll talk some in regards to the click farm. Okay, just let me know when you're ready. Let's bug off. Johnny, thank you so much, William. You care about us. I was able to get good results with your GMB teachings. Awesome, Johnny. If you could just send me a video review. I'm always looking for those too. So anytime I've helped any of y'all, if y'all want to drop a video review, I always appreciate it. So any more questions? Because we got like 10 minutes left, a little under 10 minutes, and then I'm going to jump off here. So, all right, appreciate that. Send that over. Aaron says, so in what circumstances do you just create a blog post? We create blog posts once. I don't really understand the question, but we create blog posts once a month at minimum, and there are times I recommend 4 times a month or more. And it's all based around what are people asking on Google. Now, the other tool I did want to show you, let me pull it up. It's called Rank Tracker from linkassistant.com. Chase has actually been talking about this tool a little bit lately. It's SEO Power Suite. I've been using this damn tool for years, and y'all see me use it all the time. But I give you an example. Let's get over here to this electrician or pull one of these electrical sites. Copy. Let's go to the website, and then I'll show you the report. What happens when you run it? And I'll run it first because it may take a bit, because this guy, I think he has a lot of URLs. All right, I'll show you now. I ain't gonna wait. So this guy right here is ranking in the top 3. He's one of the people we already looked at. But if I wanted to do keyword research, I could go to keyword research over here. And I could do a keyword gap report, which shows me where is he ranking at versus where am I ranking at. That's what a keyword gap report is. What keywords, what are you ranking for? You have a keyword planner in here. The 2 that I really like are related questions and related searches. So I could type in the keyword, and let's say it is our related questions. You go emergency roof electrical repairs. And if I go search, it's going to go through Google and actually do the search. And then when it's done, it will pull all those related questions to that term into an Excel spreadsheet. And then I take those and I give those over to my content writers, and then they write content off of it. And I'm going to show you the website you can get this from. It's called Link. And no, I'm not a affiliate of it. It's linkassistant.com, and you can get the free version or the paid version. I started out when I started using the free version. I remember the days I used to have people ask me for a report, And I'd literally run the report, take a screenshot of the report and send them that as the report. Because unless you pay for it, it's going to have information on it. You can't print it out. You can't save it. You can't email it. And then came the time where I bought it, because this is around $1,000 for all of it every year. So, but it's something that I love. I love that tool, and it's really good for keyword research. And you can, once it's done, so for example, right now it's already found 438 keywords or questions, if you will, that I could possibly write content about, write blogs about, you know. And then I'm going to show you that real quick. So now it's done. Why emergency electrical repair means, who, you know, and gives you who, what, when, where, you know, questions. And then I can download this as an Excel sheet, right? And then on top of downloading an Excel sheet, then I can go through it and say, okay, do I like this one? Do I not like this one? What keywords do I want or not want? And I use that. And then also, like I said, also has related searches, and you can pull up related searches. Related searches are what's at the bottom of Google. Whenever you do any search, it shows at the bottom of Google. People also search for this, you know. So so give me 1 second. Lots of questions coming in here. All right, work circumstances. Google, what are people asking on Google? You mean in the people ask part? Yes. Patrick, already shared my screen. Bug off. Everyone should grab the syndication setup from William. It's the IFTT. Basically, you set up, if I do a blog, it gets blasted across the entire social network, is what he's referring to. It makes it much easier to maintain. Nick Val, I'm piggybacking on Aaron's question for non-pillar info, such as the also ask questions. How do you decide? I personally, this is the way I look at keyword research. And I've said this before, but I'll give you another example. I type in, your main keyword is, let's say, emergency electrical repair. And I'll show you this. And maybe a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, and I'm very blunt when Jason knows this. He's a good friend, but he's also a mentee. Most people overcomplicate stuff, therefore they never do anything, therefore they never have any success. Okay. If your main keyword is emergency electrical repair, what should your blogs be about? Every fucking one of these questions that Google is saying people are asking about. There's no deciding for me. Google's telling me people are asking about what is considered an electrical emergency. So I'm going to write a whole article about what is considered an electrical emergency. The next time I write an article where it says what action should be taken when an electrical emergency arises, guess what the name of my article is going to be? What action should be taken when an electrical emergency arises? What's the next one? What's the first thing to do in an electrical emergency? So I can do several things. I have a SOP on how to do this, and I went over it before. If you look through the GMB Pros, in which how to use Jarvis, right? I can do one thing. Let's say this is my main pillar content, it's emergency electrical repair. So my article, I'll go through Jarvis, create the actual title, and then these right here are going to be all my bullet points or topics that I'm going to cover in that guide or article, depending on how long you want to be. To me, a guide, it should be around 5,000 to 10,000 words, right? Article 2,500, especially depending on what you have inside of Signal Genesis. Depending on the plan you're on, you can go up to 2,500 words. Ours can go up to 2,500 words, so I do 2,500 words. That's how I don't try to overcomplicate. I get emergency electrical repairs. Let's go commercial, just to show you the difference. Commercial. Okay, what are commercial electrical services? What kind of work do commercial electricians do? How much does it cost for an electrician to troubleshoot? How do you calculate emergency electrical work? So Google's telling me this is what people are looking for. So why do I need to decide what to write about? So when I go to SEMrush and SEMrush spits out all these keywords that says, hey, this one's got low competition, this one's easy to rank for, you are not getting anything from Google. Google is not telling you, hey, write about this. When I do my method, Google's saying, hey, William, people are looking for these terms when it comes to this main piece of pillar content. So that's what I write about. Let me go through here, some more questions. Hopefully that answered your questions. Another thing you can do, the fact page, okay, facts can be set up on every single page and also have their own page. Where do I get my facts from? I have another little hack that I went over in this, is called Quora. So I'll go emergency electrical repair inside Quora, right? And then I scroll all the way down to Quora, and I use this little handy dandy tool up here. It is called Launch Simple Scraper, right? And I'll go through here and I'll go all the way down, 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 and pull all these questions, because this is electrical. You type in your question, whatever it is, like this, okay? Let's say my page is about commercial electrical services, right? I go in here, I type in the question, right? There's my question, and it's showing me all these questions, right? The simple scraper, I go in here and I hit simple scraper. It's an extension. I go scrape this website, add this property, right? I choose the property I want, which are the questions. It shows them all. I hit view results, right? Check mark, view results, and now it spits it out into an Excel sheet for me. And voila, those are my questions. Then I go into Jarvis and create the answers. If you go under Jarvis, right, there is a Quora answering template. Quora answering template. That's another way that I create content, if you will, based on, sorry, why did it do that? Oh, let me close that out. That's one of the reasons why you see this Quora answers. I just gotta type in the question and what should be included in the answer, and it will answer it for me. Then I use that to create facts, okay? And the tool that I use for that scraper is simply an extension called Launch Simple Scraper. Okay, real simple. I have a hack. If you go look on my YouTube channel or in the back end of Pros and just do a Control F and look for, you know, question and answer hack, it's on YouTube as well as in the back end. So if emergency electrical repairs is a residential service, like you can look up residential emergency electrical repairs, right? Instead of just electrical emergency repairs. Depending on if the service page, so you say the service page targeting electrical repairs in Phoenix, depending on, like the example we looked at, they actually have an EDM, which is what I suggest, an exact domain name match. This one is PhoenixArizonaElectrician.com. So I would not go back in there and go Phoenix Electrician, you know, ArizonaElectrician.com /residential / Phoenix. I wouldn't put Phoenix in there again. There's no reason. It's already in the EDM. If it wasn't, then yes, I would put emergency electrical repairs Phoenix. Generally speaking, you want it to be, for example, in this case, Phoenix Arizona Electrician.com /residential / then the service. When it's commercial, it would be / commercial. Right here, you see it. Right? And then your service. Same thing with your location pages. All right, would you talk about the pros and cons of Azagio versus Link Assistant versus PowerSuite? No, I ain't got time to talk about every single pros and cons. Link Assistant, I use Link Assistant Rank Tracker for one thing, tracking keywords and doing some keyword research. Azagio I use because it makes my life easy. I can pull in the pages, recreate the pages. That's it. And then I can take my keywords and put them in a keyword cloud. And then I can link everything up. Zagio is going to make your life 1,000 times easier if you just get it. Do I ever run GSA? Yes, I do. We'll be doing another later, much later, we'll be doing a class on GSA. Patrick, usefulness, cost, benefits, Zagio. Zagio, I would have, you know, like I said, to help make my life easier when recreating a site, link assistance for ranking reports and tracking and sending them over to, if you will, clients, and maybe doing some keyword research. Right. Link assistant you're going to need mainly for rank tracking reports. But even that, I don't use too much for just reports. I mean, some clients want every keyword. They want to see every keyword they're ranking for. And then other ones just want the GeoGrid. So I'll use Lead Snap for my GeoGrid reports, or I'll use Local Falcon sometimes. Ken Peloso, thanks for the knowledge. Will, got to run. You have a meeting with Fernell. Awesome. Nick Vale. Nick, thanks, William. Not questioning what you write about. Agree that part is straightforward. I understand. You know, I'm just saying this is how I look at it. I try not to overcomplicate it, you know, because we have a lot of people in here. I have people in here that don't know nothing about SEO. Like Carl, when he first came here, he knew he got screwed over by SEOs. That's about it. And then I got other people in here. They're like Holly Starks, Chris Palmer, and myself, or people that have loads of years of experience in SEO that know when I say pillar content, they know exactly what you mean. If I say pillar content to Carl, he'll be like, oh, what the hell is pillar content? You know, in my mind, pillar means what's the foundation of this website. So you're welcome, Valerie. All right, we're going to get off here. If you guys have any other questions, tomorrow should be Twitter Moments with Jesper. And I'm going to be dropping another Black Friday special here shortly. Johnny, I got your order, and then I got one other order for that $1,000 special. I appreciate it. And I'll be sending that over later on today. Appreciate it, bud. And I will talk to you guys soon. And y'all have a great day and be blessed.